everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and today I am going over day 10 of By the Well for God's 25 Gifts of Love. I'm making a mixed media tag today as my background, and I am using the colors of Worn Lipstick in Distress Spray Stain, and then Spun Sugar in Distress Oxide Spray, and then also some Picket Fence in the Spray Stain. I'm not going to go too crazy with the colors today. Usually I like to add more colors, but I just really want this to be a simple background because I'm actually going to use my typewriter over this background, so I don't want the words to get lost. On a little side note, if you have this non-stick mat from Tim Holtz, this is what happens when you get it scratched or cut. All the dye and pigment gets stuck in the non-stick mat, but luckily it is replaceable. They do sell replacements. And so I'm hoping to get a new one soon. It is clean on top, so there's no ink transfer, but this is just what it looks like. So just a little tidbit for you guys. So I'm toning down some of that pink with white picket fence, and then I'll bring it to my typewriter, add the verse, and then I'll add some lights. I'm using the black VersaFine ink, and then I'm gonna come over it with some clear embossing powder, and that will just make it shiny and easy to color in later. I find it easy to use a paintbrush just to wipe off some of the embossing powder before I heat set it. So if I have little places where I got that embossing powder that I don't want it, I just wipe it off with a tiny paintbrush first. So I made this stencil myself using my Silhouette Cameo, and it just is like a Christmas sweater kind of look, kind of Nordic style. But I'm using texture paste through it. Now the only bad thing is I use those file dividers to make the stencils, and so they're not very thick, which is awesome when you're just using inks and dabbing it through. But when you're trying to use texture paste, it doesn't give enough lift for the texture paste to sit, and so it doesn't make it as apparent. So instead the texture paste just kind of blends in, and it's nice because it's just a background anyhow, but I wish I would have maybe used an ink through it instead of texture paste. So I want to add more fabric to my tag ring, so I end up taking this messy polka dot pattern and I just run it through my sewing machine. Now I'm just going to gather it together, and this is super simple to do. If you don't know how to do this, all you do is you hold the bottom string, because your sewing machine is going to give you 2 lines of stitches. And so you hold the bottom string and then you just pull the fabric back to itself. So you're bunching it back towards itself, and then you can just fidget with it and make it fit to whatever you want it to fit. So I'm just going to fit it to this tag and then tape it down. And I am also cutting one side of the fabric because it was a little too wide. So I'm making sure not to cut any of the stitches, and I'm just going to cut that one side off. So I want to add more color to this tag, and so I'm going to grab my Dina Weekly Gloss Spray in the color Heather. Now this is a really pretty purple. I'm usually not a purple person, but this is really pretty. So I'm just going to kind of flick some on the page and just make sure it doesn't get too crazy. And then I'll let it sit and dry because it doesn't do well when you heat set it. And I'm going to take some GG Girls. I'm going to figure out which one I want on the page because day 10's title is called Imperfect People. And so I want to make sure I have one of those girls on the tag. So I was going to use that 10 digital piece, but I decide against it. I take one of the papers from the paper pack out and my die set, and I'm just going to cut a number 10 out so I can bring more color to this tag. I want more of that striped paper on this page, so I end up just tearing a piece to put on the bottom so that girl has a place to stand. Now I decided to use my NeoColor 2s to color this light strand in, and it was honestly the perfect choice. The NeoColor 2s just sit on the top of the ink. They don't kind of blend in, so it was awesome because if you had used distressed oxides, they would have sat on top, but they just wouldn't have given you that vibrancy that the NeoColor 2s can. So I'm taking out my water brush and just making sure that each light is colored in with those NeoColor 2s. So I'm not loving the pink NeoColor 2, so I grabbed the lavender and it just shows up more against the pink background, and it also matches those splatters that I did. So I'll start gluing everything down, including the title that I just typed up on my typewriter. And then the last thing I will do after that is all done is I'll add some glossy accents to those lights just to make them look more shiny. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like it and subscribe to my channel. And you can go ahead and follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. I hope you all have a great day. Thanks. Bye.